Very good afternoon and welcome back to antholz-anterselva for the last day of action here in Italy in the 6th round of the Biathlon World Cup. The two pursuits on the schedule today. I'm Patrick Winston. Unfortunately, Mike Dixon, my expert commentator, has made a move. He's gone north to Ruhpolding to enter the British Ski Championships. Just couldn't resist getting a bit more racing under his belt. So he's competing there today. So I'm on my own for these two races, but the action should make up for that. Well, the women already doing their warming up, but the men have only got a few moments before they start. Frank Look has been out on the course again, and this is what he has to say. It says -16 here this morning, the snow crunching under the feet, as it does when it's this cold. Sun starting to come over the mountain, so the temperature has picked up to 7 degrees. He says today, absolutely no wind. The track is firm and hard, and so we have perfect conditions. He says the two Norwegians will start first, Ole Einar Bjorndalen, followed by Frode Andersen, just 13 seconds between them. And then, of course, Sven Fischer, who starts third, has a good chance, and he thinks this is going to be one of the most exciting races we've had this year. Thanks, Frank. We'll be back with him later on. Here's the view. The mountains approaching 3,000 meters high in this part of the South Tyrol. And the air temperature, well, it says -0.4, but it is in fact a little bit colder than that. And the snow's still crunching, so it's going to be quite hard work out on the track, certainly initially. And as is so often the case here in Antholz, as the sun comes up, the wind tends to pick up as well, and it's starting to have some effect on the flags. Keep a careful eye on that as the race goes on. But the one difference with the pursuit and the mass starts is that everyone in contention is racing and shooting at just about the same time. So the weather conditions the same for all. Here's the course again, out of the stadium, long climb up. That's a painful part of the course before they break down through the meadows. And then they break around a clockwise circuit here in Antholz, and then that laboured climb once you've come out of the meadow up towards the stadium, under the bridge, and then that final hill that pushes the pulse rates up another 4 or 5 beats per minute, and so often gives the athletes problems. Transponders put on both legs to give them exact times. Not quite so necessary in the pursuit and the mass starts, but they have decided that they won't award any ties. They will always split the athletes in these particular events. Of course, we had a tie earlier on in the season in the women's with Shurna Usova and Pilieva recording exactly the same time in Ruhpolding. So the top 60 from the sprint have qualified for this run today. Absolutely stunning conditions. They'll be enjoying this. They've had a pretty rough week. There's been snow, there's been a bit of rain earlier on. There's been lots of wind, which caused a few problems in the individual event and created some disasters in the shooting. But today it's come good. So last couple of minutes preparation. We're going to take a quick break here on Eurosport. We'll be back live with the coverage of the men's pursuit in Anterselva in the South Tyrol, the very northern part of Italy. We're only a couple of snowball throws from the Austrian border, and the scene set for the last two races of this 6th round of the Biathlon World Cup. The two pursuits, the men to go first, the women going a little later on this afternoon. Now remember, the start of the pursuit determined by the sprint. Most of you will know that, but hopefully we're picking up new viewers all the time. And so the winner of the sprint event, Ole Einar Bjorndalen, is the man who is going to start the charge here on this last race for the men. 12.5 kilometres the distance, 4 shoots as always. First 2 in the prone, second 2 in the standing. There's Frode Andersen, an excellent run by Frode in the sprint event to come in second, just 6 seconds down on Ole Einar Bjorndalen. He is on very good form indeed. Sven Fischer, solid as always, wearing the red bib as he is the most successful pursuit athlete so far this year. But the story of the day, Ole Einar Bjorndalen going for his 50th World Cup win. Andersen chasing Bjorndalen. The two Norwegians on the track now. Andersen dropped from 2nd to 33rd in Overhoff. He'll be hoping the same doesn't happen here today. Sven Fischer won in Bidestølen. He won in Oslo in the pursuit. And as I say, he wears the red bib as the leader of the Pursuit World Cup. Couple of moments rest before Sergei Chepikov had his two best races of the season here at Antholz. Likes the altitude, 1,600 metres here in Italy, and Chepikov with 2 4th positions so far this week. Can he improve on that? Halvard Hannevold, another who's got his best run of the season, 7th in the sprint. He starts 44 seconds down. Ilmar Brisis, the 34-year-old policeman from Riga, starts number 8. Jano Prants of Estonia now underway as well, right on the heels of Hannevold. Just hearing a few withdrawals from the start list, and fans of Raphael Perret will be a little concerned. He is withdrawn. Gredler of Austria also decided not to race today, and Jay Hakkinen of the United States was going to start number 40, but he's not racing either. So a couple of significant withdrawals, and if Ole-Einar Bjorndalen can get a win here today and make it 50, then by my calculations he will take the lead in the overall standings. 39 points behind. If he can pick up 50 and Poiré gets none, then Bjorndalen will be back in yellow before the next round of the World Cup. That, incidentally, scheduled for the 9th of February, and it's going to be another individual men's race, so they've got just over a couple of weeks to recover from the last 3 weeks' exertion. I should think they'll need most of that, but also some fairly heavy training going in the meantime. Now it's going to be very interesting to see what happens between Bjorndalen and Andersen. I do suspect that Andersen is going to ski a little too hard and make mistakes on the prone shooting. Here's the chasing group being led by Sergei Chepikov, the colonel from the Russian army. Andersen was 6 seconds down. He's now just 4.7, working very hard indeed, and they're pulling away from Sven Fischer, who said, I don't want to be part of that. He was 13 seconds down, and Fischer struggling with the pace being set at the front. Very, very quick indeed. We expect nothing less, and he's 18.6 seconds down, 5 seconds already. Now, what are Bjorndalen's tactics? He's had one win in the pursuit so far this year. Just watch the way he copes with this hill. Switch of style at the bottom into the skate 2, and he keeps the tempo as high as he can to avoid building up too much lactate. It's an absolutely unbelievable ski. Most people have to switch into the skate 1 up there, like Frode Andersen and behind him, but Ole-Einar Bjorndalen just keeps the skate 2 going, and looks to have gained back that 1.5 seconds that he lost in the opening stages. Sven Fischer, how's he feeling today? We suspected in Ruhpolding that he was beginning to tire. Still up in 3rd in the overall World Cup standing, so it's been an outstanding season for Sven Fischer. 4 wins already. If he can make it his 5th here today, he will be just 1 behind Ole-Einar Bjorndalen, who's already won 6. And, well, he's won the last 4. It's been another remarkable run of success from Ole-Einar. And, of course, going for that golden victory today, it would be his 50th. Wearing 15, coming through the field, is Lars Berger, skiing very quick indeed. But Berger's been having a bit of trouble with the shooting. Nice style round the corner. Good skating turn, accelerating as he does it. And straight down into the bullet tuck, as he likes to call it. There's no doubt that Bjorndalen will have good skis. Carries 24, 25 pairs around with him on tour. Spends a lot of the summer testing the skis, looking for the perfect pairs. And with the grind, as they now call it, the base of the ski so important, they prepare 4 or 5 pairs with each with different or I should say in groups with different grinds on the bottom. So 4 or 5 pairs for cold conditions, and then they'll split it up into coloured groups: green, blue, yellow and red. Chepikov leading this group that also contains the German Rico Gross, who's got some work to do if he wants to get back on score. Started number 11, Rico Gross, the world champion in this pursuit event. What a race that was in Oberhof last year, where he came through to beat Raphael Poré, really, with his shooting on the last shoot. Now, the Norwegians will be a little nervous. Roger Gruber there just on his intercom to let the coaches know that the first shoot is coming up. Wind conditions just as they were when they zeroed 45 minutes ago, so no change. This is as good a condition as they've had all season. But bear in mind, we're at altitude, and these two have been flying around the first loop. Well, that's 1 of 4 out the way for Bjorndalen. He leaves the range before Fischer even settles. Now, if Anderson clears 5, I think it's fair to say the conditions are perfect. He does struggle with the rifle, but he's got 5 this time. Good news for Anderson. He stays in the chase, and the Germans will be keeping a keen eye on Sven Fischer, just settling for his first shoot now. Look at the cocking mechanism. Ooh, that really is very expensive. He could be losing the red bib now. Sven Fischer, 2 misses, 2 loops, an extra 300 metres, and he only had 20 seconds in hand over Sergei Chepikov at the start of this. But there's a massive athletes on the course now. Grice going well for Germany, 3 out of 3. There's his first miss. Ilmar Brisis of Latvia, can he make it 5? Yes, he does. He'll be out on the chase, along with Chepikov, who's gone clear. Mistakes from Hannevold, and Danny Graf of Germany's gone wide. Lars Berger throwing the rounds down the range, and he's missed 3, and he's still got another one to go. Well, he had to ski hard. He was so far off the pace, but he might as well relax now. That is a disastrous start for Berger. Chepikov in 4th position, a minute behind, having started just 32 seconds down. What a pace Oleana Bjorndalen is setting. Devastating stuff. Os, Ferry, Aubert go clear for Norway, Sweden and France. Julien Robert also clears the 5 with 5, as does Vincent de Frau. Those 2 excellent shots in the prone position. We expect nothing less from them. But the Germans will not be happy with the way things are going through the first shoot, and their main man, Sven Fischer, has lost touch with the 2 leaders. He's on his own. This is what he likes most. Now, he has thrown away the lead in the pursuit before this season. He did it in Oslo in front of his home crowd. Dropped from 1st down to 3rd. Just trying to see the fall of shot on these targets. Most of them going low. That was low again, right on the edge, so I would suspect that we'll see him just moving the sight slightly before the second prone shoot. They need to bring it up a couple of clicks because he was right on the limit there, but he's gone clear. 6:33 the time for Bjorndalen. He's opened up a little of a gap, but a significant gap between himself and the chasing group now. Grice and Graf stay together where they started, 1:18 behind. Here's Sven Fischer on the missed this 3rd shot. Well, we're going to take a good break. We're back in Antholz. Just a few technical problems at the moment, but I can confirm that Oleana Bjorndalen of Norway started first, and he still has the lead. The first shoot completed, and just give you details of the progress there. Anderson in 2nd. Brisis, who started 8th, came out in 3rd position after a clear shoot. Sergei Chepikov has held his position in 4th. Jano Prantz of Estonia, excellent shoot from him. He goes from 9th up into 5th. And Petr Garabik of the Czech Republic, 16th up into 6th position, could be heading for a personal best for this season. Fischer, though, of Germany drops from 3rd down to 7th, and he's now leading a train of Germans. It goes Fischer, Gross, Grice, Graf, all skiing together around 1:15 to 1:18 off the pace of this man. 11:15 at 4.8 kilometres, so almost 5 kilometres completed. He'll complete the 5 kilometres in around 11:40, 11:45, somewhere around there, and you can work out for yourself his rate of skiing. It is quite unbelievable. Bear in mind, he's had to stop for 35-40 seconds just to clear the targets. Anderson going through, 22 seconds down. Keep it going. Now he's got to control his effort. Cannot afford to throw it away like he did earlier in the season. Very good in Oberhof, Anderson, in the sprint event, but drops to 33rd. Missed a massive target. And it's always been the problem. He likes to try and shoot quickly, but sometimes he's quick enough to afford himself a little bit of luxury and recovery in the range, but he seldom takes it. Obsessed with getting the fastest track time rather than getting the best result. Good crowd turning up for today's event, and while we're waiting for them to come in for the second shoot, in fact we are there. Bjorn Dahlen so far ahead. Now what's going to happen? 5 out of 5 on the first prone. Has his own shooting coach this year, and it's paid off. 10 out of 10. Bjorn Dahlen will hit the halfway stage with the lead, and he's halfway to making it his 50th World Cup win. The same number of World Cups that Alberto Tomba won in Alpine for Italy. What a landmark that is to go past. Now Anderson, clear on the first prone. There's his first miss, but he could still hold on to second place. He's got a lead of 35 to 36 seconds over the chasers. In they come. Anderson will be off the loop. Not too much damage done with that miss, but it does mean that Bjorn Dahlen has got himself another 25 seconds clear, so he's going to be almost 45 seconds clear at the end of this. Anderson in no hurry at all. Looks to be taking this nice and easy. I think that's a good sign for the Norwegian. Chepikov versus Brissis then for the second shoot. Chepikov now 37, Brissis 34, so two of the veterans on the tour, and still performing as well as ever. Chepikov with that winning range of 15 years. Shot for shot up until number 4, and then Chepikov clears 5, so he'll move into third place on his own. Mistakes being made by the Germans again. Grice and Graf just psyching each other out. Fischer has missed targets again. 1, 2 going wide for the great German. Rico Gross clears 5. We would expect that from him, and he will close down on the leaders, break away from the rest of the Germans. Hannebolder's gone clear for the second time. Rojkov's got 5 out of 5. So is Alexei Idarov of Belarus. Watch their time as they come out, but the gaps between first and fourth absolutely enormous at this stage, and it's all because of one man. Bjorn Dahlen streaming away. He's now 52 seconds clear. Hannebold gets 2 Norwegians in the top 5. Brissis drops from third down into 6th. Rojkov 141 behind. Rojkov just looking for his start position. He started number 27, so keep an eye on him. He's made 20 places already. He's into the top 7, and if he can hit the standing targets as easily as he's hit the prone, then he could well find himself on the podium. That would be the most successful climb ever. Kruglov and Grigoriev 204, 205 behind. Hasn't been a good day for the young Russians, but still relatively inexperienced. Hugely talented, but just need a couple more years on the circuit. And Rojkov, in fact, Kruglov was saying at the beginning of this season that he's ahead of schedule. He wasn't expecting to be this good this year. And that was at the beginning of the season when he had the yellow bib of the World Cup leader. So I don't think he'll be too concerned that things have dropped away. But really, he's looking for success next year, and maybe Olympic medals. It's certainly a possibility. But to get gold, you're going to have to stop that man, Ole Einar Bjorn Dahlen. His great rival, Raphael Poiré, not racing today, in case you've only just joined us and were wondering where Poiré was. He hasn't been on form for the last few days, and his wife certainly has decided to sit out the Antholz races. So the players, I think, needing a rest. Pressure just too great, and it's uncanny how when one of them's going well, the other goes well, and vice versa. I'm not quite sure what's going on here. One of the athletes on the wrong lane. Now, I'm not sure whether there was a broken target or what, but maybe we'll get some information on that as the race goes on. But Maxim Chudov of Russia losing a good 20-30 seconds with that disruption to his race plan. Number 13 going through, Pavel Huyat, who missed 5 with 5 in the standing shoot in the individual race, and was somewhat unnerved by that, but he did have difficult conditions, and then he went clear yesterday just to boost his confidence. So watch out for Huyat. He'll be coming in for his standing shoot in 10 minutes or so, a couple of minutes behind the two leaders. Here's the number one man at the moment, 52 seconds clear, so he's earned himself 2 shots effectively. Two shots advantage over everyone else at the halfway stage. It's hard to believe he's going to throw it away, but there is always that possibility that his nerve will crack on the last shoot. This is a very, very big day for Ole-Einar Bjorndalen. Surpassed the record of Bjorndali last week, the great Norwegian cross-country skier who won 48 World Cups. And of course, the press was straight over to Bjorndalen to ask him for his comments, and he invited Bjorndali to make a comeback and see if he could get to 50 first. But I think Daly deciding that that's not really in his life plan at the moment. Of course, he had to retire early with back problems, fairly common amongst cross-country skiers, and it's all been put down to the changing style and the changing techniques of the double pole. Well, Bjorndalen leading the way, Andersen of Norway in second place. Welcome back to antholz-anterselva. Here are the recorded shots. Those of you who know this track will know that he's already completed his shooting. So just a review of what happened to Bjorndalen on his third shot, and he's cleared 5 targets, so 15 from 15 so far. It puts a smile on every single member of the crowd here in Antholz. This is biathlon at its best. He really has been on astonishing form, looking for his 5th consecutive win. Now, can Andersen keep the race alive? Needs to go clear. He's now fighting for that second position. 2 penalty loops to be skied by Frode Andersen. Sergei Chepikov will have sensed that. Is he on for a personal best today? Andersen has another glance over his shoulder to see who's coming in. He's going to have to rattle around that loop if he wants to stay clear of the rest of the field. Looked very steady in the prone Andersen. Now Chepikov taking his time. No panic at all for the Russian maestro. Olympic champion, world champion, overall World Cup winner. He's won it all, has Chepikov, and he's cleared the 5 targets. The pressure goes back on to the likes of Gross and Hannibal. Surely Gross can hit 5 with 5, but taking his time. A few problems with the rifle. Hannibal throws another one wide. His chance of going into 3rd position have gone. And Gross now manually loading that last round, which has given Vincent Defra a chance to take the lead ahead of him, but Gross gets it down. Not the quickest shoot we've ever seen from him, but he still clears the targets, and he's been climbing the order very, very slowly, but he's got himself into the top 4. 19:33 the time for Bjorndalen. He's now 1:35. It's ridiculous what this man can do. It's quite unbelievable. Great stuff. Pleasure to be watching it. Chepikov in second, 1:35 down. So how many loops can Bjorndalen ski in 1:35? He will take 22 seconds for each loop, so he can do at least 4 penalty loops and be assured of holding on to the lead. What a luxury. I don't think anyone's had that sort of situation before. He won the individual here in Antholz by 2.5 minutes. Only won the sprint event by 6 seconds, having made 1 mistake out of the 10 shots. But Bjorn Dahlen now 15 today. He hit 20 out of 20 in the individual, so that's 35, and he hit 9 out of 10 in the sprint, so that's 44 out of a possible 45 hits in race situations, leading with the greatest amount of pressure that anyone in the field is suffering. Rico Gross just clearing his last shot. And an update on the positions as we cue in on Sergei Chepikov. Finds himself on his own in the woods, nice skiing conditions. You can hear the squeaking of the ski. That's an effect that happens when the snow crystals are very, very cold. Very aggressive as well. It's a little slower to ski on. For most people, that is. So, Bjorn Dahlen, Chepikov, Anderson still the leading three after that third shoot, but Anderson has only got 11 seconds over Rico Gross now. Kruglov of Russia, who we saw earlier on make mistakes, has worked his way from 36th up into 5th position. Great recovery from Kruglov. My apologies, he didn't miss targets, just had a problem with the rifle. So he's hit 15 out of 15, 36 to 5th. And Vincent Lefranc started one place behind him and is lying in 6th position. So those two have had a tremendous climb up the order. They're separated by only 2 or 3 seconds at the moment. Hannevold started 7, is still in 7. Brissis and Graf 8 and 9. Grigoriev of Russia into 10th position. And Jano Prance of Estonia started 9, has only dropped down into 11th. So still a chance for Prance to finish in the top 10 here today. Sven Fischer started 3rd. He's had a disaster today. 2 misses on both of the prones. And he's dropped down into 18th position. 2:45 behind the leader. Now, does this man have any chance of winning here today? If Bjorn Dahlen misses all the targets, then he's got 5 loops to ski, 750 metres. It will take him around a minute 40. Anderson keeps the work rate up. Rico Gross still looks very comfortable at this sort of a pace. Good work rate from Rico. And with his shooting, I think he'll be confident that he can overhaul Anderson on the last shoot and move up into 3rd position. There's Kruglov wearing 36th. He's got himself up into the top 5. Hannevold working his way through past the Frenchman wearing 37. That's Vincent Lefranc, who's also had a clear shoot so far. In fact, no, he didn't. He missed one on the standing. So Lefranc skiing brilliantly with that one penalty loop. Otherwise, he'd be up in the top 3 or 4. So, although we think this race is done and dusted, there's a major, major battle going on for 2nd, 3rd and 4th positions. But this is all about Bjorn Dahlen. 50th World Cup win. If you can hit 4... well, if you can hit 1 out of the 5, then he's pretty much got that victory assured. There's the first one. Clean them up. Remarkable. He can walk home. He can take the skis off, put them over his shoulder and walk home because victory is his. Absolutely brilliant. Well, that's the sort of stuff that sends shivers down your spine. He's already celebrating win number 50 on his way in Antholz. Well, it's very, very fitting indeed. This is where he lives with his girlfriend Natalie Santa. It's where he does most of his training in the summer. Well, he may make it look easy, but my goodness, is he working hard. Salutes the crowd, so he might. He's hugely popular in these parts. And, well, I think they knew they were never going to get an Italian victory today. So Bjorn Dahlen is the next best thing. And a historic moment here. And look at that. He's away and clear. No one else has got anywhere near the range. It's ridiculous. Well, there were those who've been in touch with us by email, doubting Bjorn Dahlen's abilities and not understanding how it can be possible. But I can tell you that no one is tested as often as he is every time he finishes on the podium and all the way through the off-season. He is just an immensely talented athlete, and he does have off days. Don't get me wrong, he's just in one of those spells where nothing is going wrong at the moment. 59 out of 60 shots he's hit here in Antholz to make it 3 wins out of 3. Now, what about the battle for second and third? Chepikov and Anderson in together. Chepikov looking for a PB for the season. Anderson won't hang around. He'll take the risks. Now, if he can hit the last one, we've got a good race, and oh, he's missed it. So Anderson's got to hold off Rico Gross, who will have seen that, and he's going to take his time. Remember, Gross having problems on the third shoot. Hit the 5, but just made a mess of loading the magazine and had to manually load his last shot. Krugloff, who started 36, can he get himself up into the top 4? He's got 3 with 3 at the moment. 4 out of 4 for Gross and Krugloff. Down goes the last for both. Those two have got a race to the line. Brissis is going to join that one, and Halvard Hannibal clears it. So 4 men going for 4th position at the moment. Chepikov in second. Anderson, is he off the loop? Yes, he is. And the fastest man in this group is at the back at the moment, so he could work his way back into third. Bjorndalen is clear. Chepi, Gross, then Krugloff, Hannibal in 5th. Brissis in 6th position. No sign of Vincent de Frau. We'll try and get you information. The Frenchman was so close to getting up into the top positions. Just 17 seconds separating 3rd through to 7th. Sven Fischer, what a nightmare this man has had. This isn't going to do his World Cup overall challenge any good at all. 5 out of 5 to boost his confidence for the last leg, and he will ski as hard as anyone else. All quiet in the woods again, and Chepikov with a nervous look over his shoulder. I can tell him he's got 13 seconds clear of the chasing pack, made up by Gross, Krugloff, Hannibal, Brissis. Well, there's no need to shout Bjorndalen on too much. He's gone into cruise mode. He will know exactly how much time he's got to spare. 2 minutes. He can cover 850, 900 metres in that time if he has to, and he can ski at 70%, 75%, and just cruise in across the line with its pulse rate down to somewhere near normal. Most of these athletes with a resting pulse of around 38 to 40. That's the result of all the hard training, but the important factor is, of course, the range of pulse, your lowest up to your highest. There's Rico Gross. He's struggling a little, and the number 8 in the chase, Ilmar Brissis, looks to be dropping off the pace. Frode Anderson has skied very hard all the way through today. Is he going to be able to make a challenge? Number 6 coming up behind. That's Danny Graf of Germany, who's revitalised his charge with a good last shoot. Chepikov, I think, is going to be safe in second. He's just got to stay clean, stay on his feet. Looking tired, looking very tired indeed, but it's almost certainly going to be a PB for the season for Sergei Chepikov. Won here last year in the sprint event, and some of the later starters are going to get a shock because they're going to be lapped. That's 2.5 kilometres that Oleana Bjorndalen has closed on those who started later on at the beginning of this race, 2 minutes or so down off the pace. There goes the information, probably being told that he's got 10 seconds or so to spare. 12.3 kilometres, the only man through there is Oleana Bjorndalen. Now here is the chase for 3rd position. Halvard Hannibal leading it at the moment. Nikolai Krugloff, I still can't believe he's come all the way from 36th and he's got a chance of finishing on the podium. Let's hope that happens. A great story it would be. Rico Gross, good shooting as always by the German star. He's a little off the pace, struggling somewhat at the moment. and Ilmar Brisjes still there. Bjorndalen picks up the flag as he comes down towards the stadium, and round it goes. It's I think he should have a slightly bigger one than that. A golden flag perhaps for his 50th win, and Ole Einar Bjorndalen cruising home. Look at that shooting record, and remember that he hit 20 out of 20 in the individual, 9 out of 10 in the sprint, and he's hit another 20 straight into the arms of his girlfriend Natalie Sansa. If only I could do that, she says. How on earth does he do it? Great shooting, absolutely brilliant concentration. To think that he was having problems with the prone shooting last year. He's made the right steps. He's brought in a specialist shooting coach, and what an effect it has. Not only does he get his 50th win, but he goes back to his rightful position at the top of the overall standings with his 5th consecutive win here in the World Cup races. He will go into this rest period a very happy man indeed. Chepikov through 12.3. He's safe enough now, and there's another battle between Norway and Russia for 3rd and 4th position, and at the moment it looks like Hannevold is winning that. He hasn't got the most gainly style. He's very, very wide legs. He sort of crab action as he comes up the hill, but Hannevold working well, still has 3rd position at the moment. Rico Gross looks as though he's making a final charge, taking Ilmar Brisjes with him. Apologies to Polish fans watching today. Failed to pass on the news that Thomas Sikora, the 31-year-old star, pulled out at the last moment. He was due to start 12th, but Sikora not feeling particularly well today, so he's decided not to race, and that's always a good idea at altitude up here. Here comes Sergei Chepikov. Excellent run from him. So Chepi comes in 2nd position. Halvard Hannevold did a lot of gaining on that last leg to take 3rd place. And Nikolai Krugloff, what about that? A gain of 32 places. I can't be absolutely sure. I know Drachev has made some phenomenal races before, but I think that is the biggest gain we've seen in any pursuit race that we've had over the last 4 seasons. Krugloff then gets 4th. Rico Gross, a good race. He's up in 5th and will keep his position in the top 5 of the World Cup standings. Brisjes, an impressive 6th position. Frode Andersen, entertaining as always. 0-1-2-2 his score on the range, and he's still come in 7th. So valuable points. Danny Graf has shown that he is going to be a star in the future. The young German that really has knocked on the door of the very best in the last 3 or 4 weeks. Danny Graf in 8th. Rojkov in 9th, who has climbed all the way up the order. Defrin in 10. Good sprint here between the number 5. That's Mickey Grice. And Grice just being beaten, or in fact just getting the better of the Russian Schulman. Villamo securing 13th place for the Italians. And Huber, his best of the season, 16th, 3:08 down off the leader's pace. Prance had a good start today, started 9, but has dropped down to 17th. Lars Berger making all sorts of mistakes on the range, drops a few places as well. Sven Fischer, though, well, that is the opposite of Nikolai Krugloff. Fischer goes from 3rd all the way down to 23rd position, and will pick up just 8 World Cup points and will lose 42 points to Ole Einar Bjorndalen, so it's even further behind now. Petra Garabik just ahead of Huyat. Huyat started 13th, and problems with the shooting again. It all went very well in the sprint event. Carl-Johan Bergman, just outside the World Cup points. He'll be very disappointed with that. 31st position with him. Alexander Oss, the young Norwegian that's been given experience this year, interchanging between the Europa Cup Tour and the World Cup Tour. Oss gets 30th position, so 1 point gained by him. Lysenko down in 32nd. Nielsen, not a good day for the Swedes. I'll try and find out exactly what happened on their shooting. 31, 33 and 34. We've learned to expect a little better from them, as they've had an excellent season so far. Bergman missed only 2, so obviously not skiing brilliantly. Nielsen missed 4. Bjorn Ferry missed a total of 6 shots today. Kind conditions leading to better performances overall. Wilfried Paulhuber, who started 34 for Italy, went clear, moved up into 16th place. A little bit of a sprint going on for the lower positions. Won on this occasion by Dmitry Borovic, ahead of Moravec of the Czech Republic. And 5 minutes down, almost 2 kilometres behind Ole-Einar Bjorndalen, who's got the warming suit on, doing his press interviews. Made it look so easy. Win number 50. He draws level with the likes of Alberto Tomba, who of course took 50 alpine wins, most of those in the slalom. 15 slalom, 15 giant slalom I should say, 35 slalom for Tomba, and he now is ahead of the likes of Velber and Daly, who've got 48 World Cup wins apiece. Mari Nukanen, the ski jumper, had 46 World Cup wins, but still topping the lot is Ingemar Stenmark, who I hear was out in Asia over the Christmas period and experienced the tsunami there, so I hope he's got home safely. But a phenomenal effort from Ole-Einar Bjorndalen. Vladimir Drachev, a disappointing day for the great Belarus athlete. His shooting, 5 misses in all, but he started number 42, having made a bit of a mess of his sprint event 2 days ago, so I don't think any real surprise that we haven't seen the best from Vladimir Drachev. And Antholz is a place, if you're on form, then all well and good, but if you're feeling slightly below par, you will have a dreadful race. The altitude, the toughness of this course, and usually the wind conditions in the range, but they've been just about perfect for the men's pursuit today. The women's event coming up a little later on. 3:15 start local time, so 2:15 if you're watching in the UK for the start of the women's, and that could be another interesting race. Kati Wilhelm, the winner of the sprint, is going to get it underway, and it would be nice to see Kati take another win here, but she's going to have to hold off the Russian charge from people like Pilieva, Shona Usova, Ishmaradova, and of course the French starting to go well with Sandrine Bailly back on form, and then a whole host of Germans who will be chasing Kati Wilhelm, Vlago of course, and Uschi Diesel. Well, no figures confirmed as yet, but I can tell you that Bjorndalen has taken the lead in the overall World Cup standings, and with 50 points gained, he's also taken the lead in the Pursuit World Cup standings. So a whole host of accolades coming his way as a result of this race here today. Starting number 57 was Jakob Borsen of Sweden. He's going to finish number 54, so he's gained a couple of places, but most of those by default because, as we mentioned earlier, 4 athletes withdrawing before the start of the race. Poré, Sikora, Hakkinen and Gredler all decided not to start here today, but they wouldn't have had any effect on the lead. There was no way that anyone was going to catch Ole-Einar Bjorndalen. When he skis as fast as he does, he shoots well and clean, then victory is pretty much assured to go his way, and that's exactly what's happened here today. So Bjorndalen making it win number 50. Let's hope the conditions hold for the women's race. Just to confirm the positions, 3 of the top 5 all going clear. Biggest gain made by Krugloff, who's gone from 36th up to 4th. Hannevold was outside the top 10 at one stage, but regained his composure and skied very well over the last loop to get back into 3rd position, but just couldn't quite catch Sergei Chepikov, who gets 2nd today. Further down the order, good climb by Vincent de Fra, 37th to 10th. Rojkov will be happy, 27th up to 9th. Schlesinger, excellent run. He's gained 20 places as well. Largeberger going the other way, 7 misses in all. I think that's the worst shooting record of the day so far. Berger's getting a reputation like Frode Andersen. Let's hope that he can have a couple of good races when the Tour gets underway. 9th of Feb, just make a date in your diary if you're a biathlon fan. That's when they'll be in action again, competing in Italy, Sicario, and then the Tour goes to Pokluka in Slovenia for a sprint and the pursuit and the 2nd mass start of the season, and then the final World Cup being held on the 17th through to the 20th of March, the Tour heading to Khanty-Mansiysk in Siberia, where of course the World Championships were held a couple of seasons ago. Well, that's just about all from Antholz. A great occasion. We have got the women's event coming up later. Great scenes in perfect conditions here in Antholz, and fitting spectacle really for a historic moment in biathlon. The first man or woman to achieve 50 World Cup wins. Magdalena Forsberg came close, but today Oleana Bjorndalen has made it. His 50th win wrapped up, and he goes to the top of the World Cup standings.